So, what if the electric car in your driveway could do more than just get you from A to B? I mean, what if it could actually power your entire house during a blackout? Or even better, what if it could save you money every single day? Okay, let's get into it. We're talking about vehicle-to-home technology, or VTH for short. And believe me, it's about to change how you think about your car, your home, and your energy bill.
But let's just stop for a second and address the elephant in the room. The number one question, the biggest fear I hear from everyone is, wait, am I going to completely wreck my super expensive car battery just to save a few bucks on electricity? And you know what? That's a totally fair question. You spent a lot of money on your EV, and the absolute last thing you want is to kill its lifespan. So what's the real answer?
The impact? It's negligible. Yeah, that's it. That's a scientific consensus. The wear and tear from powering your home is so tiny compared to the stress of just, well, driving the car, that it's barely even a rounding error. And here's the wild part. This is where it gets really interesting. V2H can actually help your battery live a longer, healthier life. But to get why, we've got to bust a huge myth about how batteries work.
Right. Let's tackle this V2H battery myth, because to really understand why you shouldn't worry, you have to get that not all battery use is created equal. It's not if you use the battery, it's all about how you use it, the kind of stress you put on it. That's what truly matters. Okay, think about it like this. Driving is like a high-intensity workout for your battery. When you hit the accelerator, you're demanding these massive spikes of power. We're talking 150, even 300 kilowatts. That generates a ton of heat, which is public enemy number one for battery cells. But powering your home with V2H, that's like a slow, relaxing walk in the park. It's just a gentle, steady trickle of power. For a giant EV battery, it's a tickle. It stays cool, it stays stable, and it's totally unstressed.
And here's another key point. Batteries, well, they hate extremes. They don't like being at 100% charge all the time, and they definitely don't like sitting near empty. That's when they degrade the fastest. V2H actually helps you avoid that. At night, your car can discharge from, say, 80% down to 60% to run your house. This keeps the battery right in that Goldilocks zone, that perfect, happy place between 40 and 70%, where it's most stable.
Okay, you're saying, but what about the total number of cycles? Let's just look at the raw numbers. The average person might put about 60 full charge cycles on their car a year from driving. V2H might add another 50. Now, that sounds like a lot, right? But here's the thing. A modern EV battery is built to handle over 1,500 cycles. So let's be real. Even if you're using it every day, that battery is still going to last 15, 20 years. You will almost certainly get a new car before that battery even thinks about giving up.
And hey, if you happen to own a car with an LFP battery, that's lithium iron phosphate, found in a lot of new Teslas, BYDs, and others, then this whole conversation is kind of pointless. These batteries are absolute workhorses. They can handle up to 6,000 cycles. At that point, worrying about degradation from V to H is like worrying about a single raindrop in a hurricane. It's a non-issue.
So now that we've hopefully put the battery myth to bed, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because your car is becoming so much more than a car. It's a powerhouse on wheels, and there are a few different ways it can connect to the world. You're going to hear a few terms thrown around. First, there's V1G, or smart charging. That's simple. Your car just charges when electricity is cheapest. Then there's V to G, vehicle to grid, where your car can actually send power back to the entire national grid. But the real game changer, the one that matters for you as a homeowner, is V2H, vehicle to home. That's when the power flows straight from your car to your lights, your fridge, your everything.
And look, while V2G is pretty cool for the big utility companies, V2H is where the direct, practical, I can see this right now benefits are for you. So let's break down exactly why V2H is the winning play for homeowners.
It really comes down to 4 pillars. First up, energy independence. When the power goes out, V2G has to shut down for safety reasons. But V2H, it turns your house into its own energy island. The lights stay on for days. Second, you maximize your savings. You're not trying to sell power back to the grid for pennies. You're just using your own cheap stored energy instead of buying it at peak prices. Third, as we said, it's way gentler on your battery. And finally, and this one's a biggie, simplicity. V2H is a private system. No complicated contracts or red tape with the power company.
This slide right here, this is where it really clicks. I mean, why would you go out and spend thousands on a dedicated home battery, like a Powerwall, when you already have a much, much bigger one just sitting in your garage? Your EV has 5, maybe even 7 times the capacity. The cost is already baked into the car's price, and it can deliver way more power. You already own the best home battery on the market.
Okay,
let's talk about the bottom line, the part everyone really wants to know about. How does this all translate into actual, real-world savings? This is where your car stops being just a car and starts becoming a financial asset.
Now, if you've got solar panels, you know this pain. You produce all this amazing free energy in the middle of the day when nobody's home to use it. So typically, you only use about 30% of what you generate. With V2H, you store all that free sunshine in your car battery and then use it at night. Your self-consumption, it skyrockets to 90%. You're using almost every drop of that free energy.
So what does that mean for your wallet? For an average family, this works out to about 450 euros in direct savings every single year. That's money that's just back in your pocket because you're not buying expensive electricity from the grid anymore.
But honestly, this number is maybe even more important. This is the massive cost you avoid. You don't have to spend 8, 10, even 12,000 euros on a separate home battery system. Why? Because you've already got a better one parked in your garage.
So it all boils down to this, a really simple idea. The ultimate financial win with V2H isn't about becoming some kind of power mogul selling energy back to the grid. It's about freedom. It's about simply not spending the money in the first place.
All right, by now you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, I'm in. How do I actually do it? Well, the good news is this isn't some far-off future tech. It's here now, and here's what you'll need to get set up.
You really just need 3 key things. First, obviously, you need a compatible car that can do this two-way power thing. A lot of models from Hyundai, Kia, Ford, and VW are already on board. Second, you need a bidirectional wall box. It's a special charger that lets power flow both ways. And third, you need a home gateway, which is the smart little box that manages the whole system and keeps everything safe.
And when you put it all together, what you get is a picture of the home of the future. You've got solar panels on the roof making free energy, your EV acting as a giant battery to store it, and V2H technology putting it all to work for you. It's an integrated, resilient, and seriously cost-effective way to live.
So, I'll just leave you with this one last thought. The average car, get this, is parked and just sitting there doing nothing for 95% of its life. It's this hugely expensive, powerful asset that we barely use. V2H changes that completely. It puts that asset to work for you. So the real question is, isn't it time your car started earning its keep? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer.